Hey guys, welcome back to Raptor's Garage, and we're going to be starting a whole brand new series on totally rebuilding the L200. Now it's March now. By the time you're actually going to be watching this, in about 6 weeks, 7 weeks time, you'll have had a chance to catch up on everything that Paul's been doing to his discovery of all the videos that are ready to go. But over the next few weeks, we are basically going to totally rebuild my L200 based on everything we've learned from our trips last year, especially the one over to the Pyrenees. So what is it we're actually going to do? So if you've seen the Pyrenees videos, the cage system we built for the top worked really well. It was great for the roof tent. We had the sort of boxes on the side for storage. We had jerry cans on. What was not working for me was the tub. The tub was basically awkward to get into. Pulling out wolf boxes, sifting through wolf boxes all the time was a pain. So we're getting rid of the tub altogether. What we're going to do is we're going to build a Trayback. We're going to shorten the chassis. We're actually going to stick one of the supports that we're going to make for that chassis once we've cut it down. We're going to make that into an air tank powered by a compressor, so we've got onboard air for re-inflating tyres if we drop the pressure in the tyres. On top of the Trayback, we're then going to build an aluminium canopy with doors either side. One's going to basically be our cooking stroke catering side, the other one's going to be for storage, and then on top of that we're going to mount the Tough Trek roof tent. I was never overly happy with the rock sliders, primarily just the distance that they sit out from the side of the vehicle. These get clambered on all the time, especially when opening and closing the roof tent, and the problem for me is that they are just that right distance apart from the sill here that your foot, if you slip, is going through it, and that to me is going to be a broken leg, and it's not the kind of thing you want to happen when you're out in the middle of nowhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically refabricate these, take them off, chop them down a bit and try and sit them that bit closer to these sills, so you're not as tempted to use them so much as anything to step on. They do what their job is designed for, which is just to be rock sliders. Now if you've seen the video I was making this bumper, you'll know I love this bumper. Anyone who's seen it, anyone who's seen the videos always comments how cool this bumper is. Problem is, it is a little bit heavy, so what we're also going to do is we're going to find some ways just to trim some of the metal off, just lighten it without losing its kind of, you know, strength and rigidity. Because this year, for both vehicles, it's all about weight. One of the things we did discover on the Pyrenees, once these vehicles are fully laden with everything that we wanted in order to make sure we could do whatever we want, they were got very heavy. So any way we can save weight this year, we're going down that avenue. So we're going to take the bumper off, try and trim some stuff off it. We're going to look at maybe just replacing these wheel arches. They kind of basically started falling off as the trip went on. And then one of the other things we want to do is sort out the engine. If you've seen the Pyrenees videos, we had quite a few issues with this thing overheating. A lot of the reason is obviously we're crawling along very slow pace, and all this hot air is basically building up under the hood there. So we want to sort out some ways, A, to improve the cooling, sort out a couple of issues. There's an oil leak that's been an ongoing thing ever since I've had this car. So we're going to take the engine out, strip it down. Paul's going to go through it with me. We're going to sort these issues out, add some extra cooling in, put some electric fans in that I can just flick off and flick on when I need them, and then maybe put some vents in the bonnet to let that hot air escape. Now we've just come back from the 4x4 Expo, and we met up with Jason from UPOL with the Raptor paint, and they had a fantastic Jeep that was demonstrating some of the work that PB Customs have done. And what they had is some awesome graphics done on the side that had been sprayed on with Raptor paint. So we're going to speak to Jason, see if we can get Jason over here to give us a hand, and we're going to put some graphics down the side of both the L200 and the Land Rover Discovery. So we should hopefully bring some awesome videos over the next few weeks, and you'll see it all when it's done.
Oh, they're heavier than that.
Yeah, imagine they are.
It's only on 35, isn't it?
Right guys, so if you've not taken the tub off the L200, because I know a lot of people ask about doing the body lift, tub is the most straightforward thing. I've done it before, I've had it off because I undersealed it all, cleaned it all up when I first got it, and then put the spacer blocks in. So there's essentially 6 bolts that go through the tub to mount it on the chassis. There's one at the front here, and then there is 2 towards the back. So there you go, guys. So this has already got spacers in for a 2-inch lift that I did when I first got the truck. So I'll show you, here we are. So there's basically where we are on the truck. That's the tub, and you've basically got 1 bolt that runs through here, and then you've got, if you can see them, you've got basically a bolt there, and you've got another one there with these 2-inch spacer blocks in. Very easy to fit. Tub's easy to do, the body's a little bit more tricky.
That's done.
So guys, as I was saying, there's 6 bolts underneath this tub. So if you're ever looking to do a body lift, 2 kind of bolts at the rear, and then there's a bolt and a bolt either side at the front. So you basically undo all those 6 bolts and disconnect the electrics, and now we're just going to lift the thing off. You kind of do this as a 2-man job. We might get a 3rd person.
Well, if you're doing a body lift, you do it. You could do it on your own.
Yeah.
Because you just do a side at a time. If you loosen all the bolts, you can lift one side.
Lift one side and do it. Especially when you do the body. If you do the body, which you've done, do one side at a time. Do not take all the bolts out, because if that body shifts, you're never going to get that lined up again with your chassis. Obviously, the tub is a lot lighter. So
yeah, I've done discos before, doing body lifts and just do one side at a time. Loosen everything off, leave them in. Jack one side up, put the lift, and then do the other side.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure, we don't need a load. Yeah, we probably just to take the weight at the back.
Get the weight at the back, because that's going to go down, isn't it?
Looks like one of those broken Navaras now. That's because it's so much higher though.
Right, let's put it down.
The last time.
Upward.
So that's it, guys. That is your L200 with the tub taken off.
And it's tiny.
And yeah, it's surprising how much the actual tub hangs over the back. So what we're going to try and do with this rebuilding this tray and making a carrier for the spare wheel is try and keep it all now within the length of the actual chassis and get rid of that kind of like 12 inches of overhang that you get off the back of your tub to make basically the departure angle a lot better.
So is that the right tool for the job?
That's the correct use
of a pair of grips.
So these are the spacer blocks from Exogen, and they've had some abuse considering the weight that was on the back of this, and they've lasted really well. No sign of any wear and tear on those. Interesting question as well, as I asked this question when I first did this lift, was these are the kind of the pads that come
Factory spacer.
out of the factory, and I also said, well, should I just take these out then obviously just replace them with the spacer? And the guy rightly said, so the problem is if you take that out and replace it with that, you're not quite then getting a 2-inch lift, you're getting a 2-inch lift less what you take out. So I left them in, and with those on top, and then just kind of fabricate an angle and square it off there, 2 bits coming like that, so the wheel would sit on the piece that we put across there. So put
You've got the back seat for your bags.
Yeah.
But you'll still be able to put on top.
Yeah.
So you're going to have more storage than you had before in a smaller area if you use it right.
Yeah.
Up from the wheel, that's the next thing that's going to catch.
Yeah.
And then whatever hangs over here. So we've just got to watch that. It won't have a rest.
Yeah.
So it either fits on the box or it gets ratchet strapped to the bed. I'm just thinking it, you know, we're shortening it.
Yeah. Well, that should, because that technically should, because that
Tiny shocks.
they are a bit fucking small, aren't they? But I don't feel that I don't really get any movement to use them anyway. So
Yeah, they're fine.
they don't do it.
They're all good. They're not moving.
So we want to basically keep this kind of Trayback as short as possible. We want to go away from what the original setup is with that real long tub on the rear. So now the tub's off, what we're going to do is cut the end of these chassis legs off, basically up to where our shackles are mounted down here. We're going to take out this brace, which is essentially what used to have your spare wheel. Used to have, if you remember, you stick your bar in there, you wind up your spare wheel underneath. We're going to take this out and we're going to replace it with this piece of 80mm box section. So A, for the strength, but B, because we've got an empty tube here, what we're actually going to do is make sure it's properly sealed at both ends, and we're going to use it as an onboard air tank. So we're going to power it from a compressor, which is either going to be in the vehicle or inside the canopy on the rear, which is basically going to allow us to have onboard air for reinflating the tyres once we've basically let them down to go off on the rocks and anything like that, plus use power tools with it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to chop off these legs, chop this cross piece out, and get this welded into place.
Nah, this is Raptor's garage. Nah, bigger. That might do, but I think we could go bigger. Yeah, that's the one.
So guys, whilst Paul's doing his thing, chopping that chassis up, I'm just disconnecting all the electrics that were put in. Now, we didn't go into too much detail on the L200 on the electrics when it was all done, but basically underneath this box section where I've removed the back seats and boxed everything in, I built, if you can see it, basically built this fuse board here, which I'm going to redo. I'm going to redo a whole one. We'll do a series of videos on what we do. I'm going to disconnect all of this now, and what I think I plan on doing is put in all the electrics in the canopy.
This is what happens when you put your Mitsubishi on a calorie controlled diet. It loses weight.
That's just to compensate for the weight I put on over Christmas. Right mate, so we're going to take a bit of 80x80 box section.
I didn't know the camera was on, sorry. I'm not ignoring you guys, I'm just in a world of my own.
And use this basically to brace this back up, but make this into an air tank. So how are we going to do that?
What, make it into an air tank?
Yeah.
Wait for the guys across the road to shut up. So I'm going to weld this in, then we're going to weld a couple of fittings in it, we're going to drill it,
yep.
Weld a couple of fittings in it, run a pressure test, make sure we've got no leaks, so we'll then go around and check the welds again.
Yeah.
And that's it, basically.
Yeah.
It's an integral air tank. So we're just using a piece of the chassis rail, or now the new chassis, as an air tank for tools.
Yeah.
Anything, or blowing up tyres, whatever you want. Really.
It's a waste of space otherwise, isn't it? So
yeah, you might as well make some use of this.
Because we saw it mentioned, didn't we, on a programme that they built all this.
I'll tell you, it was Bleeping G.
Bleeping G. They put all the sills in with some 100mm box section, and then thought to themselves, this is an ideal space there for an air tank. Yeah. Rather than fitting a separate air tank. So we're going to give it a go. See what happens. So we made this into an air tank. We're also looking at putting the water tank in here somewhere. So rather than having the water tank in the tub that I used to have.
I think it's going to go about here.
Yeah, we're trying to sit it in here, aren't we?
Yeah. Or strap it to the bottom of the new cradle. Let's go with the new frame. We'll make somewhere for it. It's one of them. We're just going to make it all fit, aren't we?
Yeah. Now guys, this is the basically the frame. It's going to form the platform for the Trayback. I had all these pieces cut this morning, not quite the size so that we can make any adjustments we wanted with the chop saw. So we're just going to get the first corner tacked together, get it all square, and then we're going to start building on from that. Get it all lined up, and then once it's tacked up we can just offer it up on the rear of the vehicle and see how it's going to look.
How do you know how a tape measure works? Yep, you do. You do that. About there.
Yeah.
That's the strongest point. I'm thinking we put two that way.
Yeah.
Looking at that now, come up off this back piece and tie these ends in.
Right, this one's going to be different, isn't it?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, we know where that one's going,
Yeah.
so we can take this in and weld them on. So
Weld
we're
them
going to put them directly under there.
Yeah.
Yeah, most contact then, isn't
Cool.
it? So I can just stitch them on.
So what a difference a day makes. I tell you what guys, we had no idea we were going to get this far in just day one. We basically got everything off, welded in this brace which is going to form an air tank which we're going to work on tomorrow. We've built this frame, Paul's got it all welded up. So
it's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting there. So the plan is now, if you can see it, I know it's a bit harder, it's kind of looking
the
at
light's
angle,
going.
and the light's going, but we're going to sit a water tank in here. So tomorrow we're going to build like a frame to support the water tank, which is going to sit below what is going to be the checker plate at the top on this. We're going to do the valves on this tank and test the tank out.
Pressure test that, yeah.
Test it, make sure that works. And then on here, this isn't the full length, and I hope we're going to keep this as short as we possibly can. But we're going to build a frame that's just going to drop down a bit so that we can sit the spare tyre here, and it's going to come to the same height that the aluminium cab is going to come to. And what we're trying to do then is that we can put the roof tent on top of the aluminium cab, and as much as possible keep it all kind of in line with the top of the roof, so that we're basically kind of, you know, streamlining it so that we're not got too much resistance when we drive on the motorways.
You know about the drag, don't you, from the roof tent?
Yeah.
You can really feel the drag from a roof tent.
And weight wise, I mean, it took 3 of us to get that off because the tailgates on those things weigh a ton.
And I can lift this on my own.
Yeah, that's a single man lift, and what we've taken off there has pretty much been completely now replaced by this.
Yeah.
So because obviously then we'd have filled that tub with the frame, the roof tent, all of the storage. So that's all we're going to do with this, is just fill it with.
And now you're going to have to change the springs again.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to change the springs, guys. So by the time you see this, I've probably already sold them. But yeah, I've got heavy duty springs on which are rated to an extra 500 kilos, and I just don't need them now with how much we've lightened it.
I know all about that, Chris.
Yeah.
You'll see what I mean in future videos.
There is a whole lot of movement on this. So right guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. We're going to do another video obviously for what we do tomorrow, and keep them coming. So cheers guys, don't forget, like the video and share it, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you later guys.